Hi there, my name's Dave. I go by Mountain Branch Music online. Just got this in the mail today. It's the Firefly Relic. And it sounds pretty good, it feels pretty good. I'm not a Les Paul player all the time. I just got into it a while ago. I traded for a Gibson USA faded style, what they call is kind of a satin mod collection piece that I really liked. It kind of turned me on to the Gibson thing. So before that, I just kind of traded for it out of curiosity. Connecting with that instrument and doing some cool projects with it really, I got it at least at that point. And I tried some other things, like a PRS 594. I was like, well, maybe that'd be more comfortable, better fret access. And they were really hyping up that it was kind of like a 5.9 Les Paul. But it's not really, it's its own thing. I played a couple. But I started picking up Firefly Les Pauls in the shops, and they're really good. And this one's really good, and it's really light. I don't know if it's chambered or what. I can't see any obvious seam lines. I guess we could look a little closer. Yeah. Oh, look. Well, no. 3. I'd say 3-piece. So there's a big piece here, and then a piece here, and then a piece there. So, but it's a great lightweight, resonant instrument, and so I'm really impressed by that. I was curious about the relic finish. The neck. It's not a one-piece neck. It has a big old volute here, and that's where the headstock is glued on, basically. So, and it's not a fat back. Like my Gibson is a 50s style, so it's more like a 58. This is probably a skinny 59 if I had, from what I know about Gibsons. I don't know about the neck joint and tenon and all that on this model. I'm sure some other people could get into it, but plays good and sounds great. So I do know, I feel like Firefly's main thing, their bread and butter, is saving people money on getting them into a quality Les Paul style guitar. So that said, my other passion over the years, hang this way up, I'll do a whole wall of Fireflies tonight, has been, so this is the Pegasus V1, which when I got it, I was really impressed. You know, it's an affordable, routed back, set-in top, laminate, hollow body, full hollow, so there's nothing under the bridge or on the pickups. So the pickups are set in there, just hanging by this. There is another layer of wood under here. But what I was really impressed by was the neck joint on this. I could tell, I've replaced the tuners on this. But I could tell that the neck was set in really well, and it was providing extra low-end response compared to similar style guitars that I had played. So we'll go ahead and let me play a couple notes on this. We'll turn it back up and jam a little bit. I do have a volume pedal. This is a mix. This is Afro-Cuban funky grooves. This is Cami Layé Okún. Turn Cami's mix down a little bit there. So, the little real long note there, that's kind of the fishy trick. So that's kind of the party piece for any big Trey Anastasio fan, fish head, fish guitar head. I may share this video over there too. So this will do that. It helps to be closer to the speakers. But as you heard, Les Pauls have a lot of sustain because they're heavy and the neck joint is glued in. This isn't as resonant as some small hollow bodies I've played, but it's really nice acoustically, and I kind of like that it's its own thing. It's consciously a different shape. It has the Les Paul style wiring, which I was really unfamiliar with when I first got into this guitar, because I was used to playing guitars that were more like a PRS style hollow body, or more trying to be a Languedoc. So this was cool. I thought this was like interesting. They kind of went their own way with it, but it was still full hollow, and I still think there's nothing like it, because today I'll skip over the pink Tele, which I've put some rails in. I'm gonna go for this guy, which showed up today. I was a little worried he wasn't gonna make it because he had his own tracking number, which was defunct. I got a really quite the spalting pattern on the back there, so you could see some things in there. And I took it out, and I could feel it's a little heavier. And I guess someone said it, but I lost track of it. It's not a full hollow body. And I was really disappointed when I took it out of the box, and I'm not 100% sure I'm going to keep it, because so I lost track that it's not a true, typically on a Languedoc style guitar, the neck joint will stop at or just beyond the first pickup, which I think is why Mr. Languedoc, who I've had the pleasure of meeting and playing a few of his guitars and some really high-end replicas or inspired by Languedoc guitars, I think that's why he's a big proponent of the acoustic bracing on his guitars, which is really hard to replicate at a reasonable price point. And to do well as an import model. So this doesn't have that, but it is a nice kind of bent back with the laminate. The neck is really nice. I like the neck profile. The joint comes out a little further than I would design if it were up to me, but I think, again, I do feel this is influenced by Firefly's history with Les Pauls. So, and I was like, well, why did they go so much more Languedoc style, but not do the full hollow thing? But on this guitar, it is the center block stops just behind the bridge. And one of my pet theories is that if you have the bridge wood free floating, that's what starts the top rocking and resonating to create the sympathetic feedback, so you can get that feedback on the fundamental, which is the one note that you just played, and it doesn't go up and rise up to an octave overtone or a more unpleasant overtone. So it sounds better than I expected. The pickups sound good. They're better. The wiring pots are actually, the switches are coil taps, or coils, it goes from single coil to humbucker. Knob works as you would expect. The taper on the volume knob is probably not going to be to many people's liking, but if you hear the style I'm playing, I use a lot of drive and compression to get that kind of sound. And it's actually nice to have the taper do not a lot for a lot of the treble, because you can really fine tune how it's hitting the gain, or your first gain stage, your pedal or driver or amp or whatever it is. So I'm gonna turn our DJ back up. I'll get plugged in and we'll hear it, and you can compare. I'll try to get some of those singing notes out of there. And it is possible, I will say that. It's not as easy as it would be as if this was a true hollow body. But I like it. I relate it back to their history with the Les Paul, which is, again, you do get natural sustain just from the mass and resonance of a choice piece of mahogany and a good neck joint. So I think they're making up for the bracing that would honestly bring this guitar to a similar weight with Mr. Languedoc style of construction. And I hope they go for it with Firefly or some of these other brands. I hope they really go for it to do something similar. Because, and I honestly, I've said in other places, I think Mr. Languedoc should just license it out, his design, and let decent companies take a swing at building his things, not just keep it because it's so ridiculously exclusive and expensive now. And I've heard he's said that they're ridiculously exclusive and expensive now. So roll out the working class model. Because honestly, there's people are making tons of money, not each individual person or company, but collectively he's missing out on a lot of licensing and quality control, really, because he could have a say. I want, if I'm going to put my name on something, it's at least going to have this, this, and this, and it's not going to be handmade by him, or a Lifetime Luthiers in Vermont, in Burlington, which I've lived in Burlington. It's a great town, great people, but it's great people all over the world. So with that, Alright, so that's my little video SEO essay on where I think we're at with the Firefly Generation 1 versus Generation 2. And I think you can tell there's a little bit of a build quality improvement. The electronics, the pickups specifically, I wouldn't vouch for the tone. Tone pods are smoother. The switching is more like that. But I think they're onto something, and I think they're a little more consciously, as I said, accounting for some of this sustain and attack you would get from a really well-braced top, just going for what they know. They're Les Paul builders, so they know a good neck joint, they know a good resonant piece of mahogany, and they do really well with that, in my opinion. So I had fun with that. I'm playing through a Spark amp. I got a fishy style pedal board with some compression and some tube screamer stuff on there. So I think it's like a tweed model. I was playing on the Spark 1. So my name's Dave. It's called Mountain Branch Music is what I do online. And I think I'm gonna kind of lean into this infinite sustain thing, kind of the way Ola England does like the chug, will it chug? I'm gonna try and do a kind of a will it howl or will it infinity kind of thing. So this is a sneak peek of that. And so you can check me out on YouTube. It's Mountain Tube, T-O-O-B. Research Mountain Branch Music. See you next time. I'm glad my guitar showed up. I didn't have to do an issue with FedEx today. I'll get a real good close-up of that. I got the real dark spalting on this one, which I didn't love. I think it's gonna grow on me. It almost kind of gets like a zebra wood thing on it. And then not perfectly book matched on the back, but you could think some things looking at that for a while, but. Peace.